My sister slapped me at her wedding in front of everyone. No more secrets. My sister Amber was always perfect. Our parents adored her. Top grades in school, fancy college degree, and now an extravagant wedding to Tom, the charming, kind, successful lawyer. She was the golden child. Ever since I can remember, people told me, be more like Amber. She always had it together. Confident, stylish, sharp. No breakdowns, no mistakes, just flawless wins. Or so I thought. The closer her wedding day got, the more strange she became. Her smile was still perfect, but her eyes sometimes weren't. She'd sneak away with her phone, whispering. She'd laugh at texts and quickly hide the screen if I got close. I brushed it off. Stress, maybe. Weddings are a lot. Until the night I found out everything. I had stayed over to help her finish decorations, ribbons, candles, seating cards, wedding favors. Her apartment looked like a Pinterest board exploded. She stepped out to the balcony to call a friend. I stayed behind, exhausted. Her laptop chimed. Facebook Messenger. The chat window was already open. I didn't mean to read it. I really didn't. But my eyes just caught it. I can't wait to see you again tonight. I miss your hands. My stomach dropped. Then came a photo. Her, in lingerie. And the name at the top of the screen? Brian. Definitely not Tom. I froze. I wanted to look away, but my eyes kept reading. Speech balloon. You're only with him for the money. Admit it. Speech balloon. Promise me you'll come over after the rehearsal dinner. Speech balloon. It's torture watching you play perfect fiancé. By the time Amber walked back in, I was still staring at the screen. She saw my face, saw the laptop. Her eyes widened. You were snooping, she said and slammed the lid shut. You're cheating on him? I whispered. Amber. She hesitated, then exhaled. It's temporary. I'm ending it. It's just emotional support. You don't understand. I can't cancel the wedding now. Everything's booked. The guests, the venue, the money. You said you love Tom. He's ready to do anything for you. I do, she snapped. But I just needed some passion. Something different. It doesn't mean I don't love him. I stared at her. This wasn't a mistake. It was betrayal, cold and conscious. Please don't tell anyone, she said, lowering her voice. Not Mom and Dad. Not Tom. Please. For me. For our family. I didn't answer. My heart was pounding. I wasn't used to this kind of drama. I'd always been the quiet little sister, out of the way, out of the spotlight. But this time was different. I can't stay silent about something like this, I said. Amber's face darkened. Her jaw clenched. You'll ruin my life. And all I could think was, no, Amber. You ruined it yourself. I just happened to see it. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. First, a message from Mom. Can you come by the house this afternoon? We need to talk. Then one from Dad. It's important, sweetheart. Please don't ignore this. And finally, a third from Amber. Just 3 words. I told them. My chest tightened. I sat on the edge of my bed, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. She had already flipped the story. I knew it. I didn't even get a chance to tell my side. When I got to our parents' house, they were all already waiting in the living room. Amber sat on the couch, curled up like a victim from a soap opera, blanket around her shoulders, red, puffy eyes, perfectly smudged mascara like a makeup tutorial for emotional breakdown chic. She didn't look at me when I walked in. Mom gestured to the armchair across from them. Sit down, honey. We need to talk. I sat stiffly. My heart was racing. Amber sniffled and wiped her nose. I told them what happened, she said, her voice soft and trembling. That you saw something you misunderstood. Misunderstood? She's cheating on Tom, I said, staring directly at our parents. She's still texting that guy, Brian. There were pictures, messages. She told me herself. Amber flinched, like I'd slapped her. That's not true, she said, her voice rising an octave. I told you I ended it. I was just confused. I was overwhelmed. The wedding is so much pressure. I made a mistake and I've moved on. But you won't let it go. I turned to our parents, waiting for something. Support. Sanity. Instead, Mom just sighed. We're not saying what she did was right. But honey, is it really your place to intervene? This is her wedding. The biggest day of her life. My jaw clenched. You want her to start a marriage with a lie? She made a mistake, Dad said gently. We all have. But this wedding, do you know how much time and money has gone into it? Canceling it now would be catastrophic. Catastrophic. Like telling the truth was some kind of earthquake. Tom deserves to know the truth, I said. Amber suddenly stood up, eyes wide. You're seriously going to destroy everything for a guy I won't even be married to for one more day. Her voice cracked. I thought you were my sister, she said bitterly. But you'd rather see me humiliated in front of 100 people than protect your own family. I froze. The guilt hit fast. Sharp. Twisting. Was I really doing this for Tom? Or just to prove I was right? Was I being selfish? But no. No. She was trying to make me feel like the villain in her lie. You're not the victim here, I said quietly. You're just scared I won't stay quiet for you. Amber didn't respond. She just sat back down and buried her face in her hands. That's when Mom leaned toward me and grabbed my hand. You're a good girl, she said softly. You've always had a good heart. Please don't ruin this for her. We're so close. Just let it go. Let her have her day. Her day. As if the truth could wait until after the photos. As if love could be postponed until the cake was cut. I sat there in silence, surrounded, cornered. I was the only one in the room who hadn't betrayed someone. And yet I was the one being asked to carry the lie. When I stood up to leave, my knees were trembling. I could barely speak. As I reached the door, I looked back at Amber. She didn't meet my gaze. She didn't have to, because she already knew. Right now, she was winning. The morning of the wedding felt like I had stepped into a dream that I didn't belong to. Everything was picture perfect. The venue looked like it came straight out of a wedding magazine. Ivory pillars wrapped in twinkling lights, cascading flowers in white and blush pink, golden cutlery set against soft linen, and waiters walking around with trays of champagne and canapes. Everyone was smiling. Everyone but me. I walked in alone, in the simple dress Mom insisted I wear. Guests greeted me like nothing was wrong. I could feel the weight of fake smiles and shallow small talk pressing against my skin. Every time someone said, "Isn't Amber just glowing?" I wanted to scream. The ceremony hadn't even started yet, and I already felt like I was losing my mind. I wasn't supposed to be there. After everything, I had told myself I wouldn't come. But last night, Mom called me again. Just be there. Please. For the family. Don't cause a scene. You don't have to smile, just stand there. Like I was a prop. She didn't care how I felt. She just wanted me to not ruin the optics. I agreed. Not because I wanted to support Amber, but because a part of me still hoped something would stop all this. That maybe Amber had come to her senses. That maybe the day would pass without me having to watch this fraud happen in slow motion. But hope is dangerous when you're the only one holding on to it. In the bridal suite, Amber laughed like a princess. Her bridesmaids circled her, gushing over her dress and her curls. The makeup artist worked her magic. The photographer snapped hundreds of shots. She didn't look nervous. She didn't look guilty. She looked like she had won. And I stood in the corner, invisible, until she finally turned to me and said, "Just smile today. Don't make this harder than it has to be." No apology. No shame. Just a threat with glitter on top. I didn't answer. 10 minutes before the ceremony, I stepped outside for air. I needed to clear my head. That's when I saw her. Behind the venue, near the catering entrance. Standing in the shadows, phone pressed to her ear, her body tense. I stayed hidden, quiet, and listened. I know. Just tonight. I promise. I'll come to you after. This'll be over soon. Let me get through the show. The show. Her wedding was a performance. She still hadn't ended it with Brian. All her promises to me, to Mom and Dad, were nothing but convenience. She hadn't changed. She never intended to. My hand shook as I pulled out my phone and hit record. I got enough. Her voice. Her words. The tone. The intent. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet. But I knew I couldn't keep pretending. The ceremony started. Soft piano music played as everyone stood. Amber walked down the aisle, eyes locked on Tom. looking every bit the innocent bride. He looked back at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. It broke my heart to watch it. He didn't deserve this. The vows were recited. The rings were exchanged. The kiss was picture perfect. I clapped because everyone else did. But inside, I was boiling. The reception hall was stunning. Candles lit every table. The food was gourmet. The wine flowed freely. People laughed and danced. They toasted to love, to forever, to happiness. And I sat at the edge of it all, silent. I felt like I was watching a glass house in the middle of an earthquake. Everything looked untouched, but I could already see the cracks. That's when Tom approached me. He looked unsure, gentle. "Hey," he said quietly. "Amber told me you've been upset lately. She said you didn't think I was right for her, that you had something to say." I blinked. "What?" "She said you were jealous," he continued, lowering his voice. "That you think I'm not good enough for her. That you don't support us." She had twisted everything. She was trying to get ahead of me, to control the narrative before I could open my mouth. I looked at Tom. His eyes were honest. He wasn't angry, just confused. He wanted the truth. "I do have something to tell you," I said slowly, before I could say another word. Slap. Hard. Loud. Echoing. Gasps rang out from the tables around us. The music cut off. My face stung. My ear rang. Amber stood behind me, red-faced, breathing hard. "You selfish little bitch," she hissed. "You really had to make it about you, huh? You couldn't let me have one goddamn day." All eyes turned to us. She turned to the guests. "She's been making things up for weeks. She's obsessed with ruining my life." Tom stepped between us. "Amber, what's going on?" "She's jealous. She's trying to ruin everything." I looked at him, my hand trembling. I opened my phone. I played the recording. "I'll come to you after. This'll be over soon. Let me get through the show." The room was dead silent. Tom stared at the phone, then at me, then at Amber. He didn't say a word. He just turned and walked out. Amber froze. The perfect bride. Alone. Exposed. And me. I stood tall. For the first time since this began, I didn't feel small. Silence. Tom's footsteps echoed across the marble floor as he walked out of the reception hall without saying a word. Guests parted like water, eyes wide, mouths hanging open, phones discreetly pulled out. Amber stood frozen, bouquet still in hand, her face drained of color. For a few seconds, she didn't move, didn't breathe. She just stared at the door like her entire reality had cracked in half. Then she turned to me. "You psychotic little freak," she spat, her voice low and venomous. "You just destroyed my life." I didn't flinch. I wanted to. My heart was beating like a war drum. But I stood my ground. "No," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You destroyed it yourself. I just stopped covering for you." A ripple of whispers ran through the guests. Amber's jaw clenched. She looked around, like she was still hoping someone would jump to her defense. Her bridesmaids looked away. Her friends were suddenly very busy with their phones. Even Mom and Dad were frozen near the cake table, staring like statues. A few minutes later, the hall was clearing out. Some guests left without even saying goodbye. Others gathered in small groups, whispering like they were dissecting an episode of a reality show. The band packed up early. The champagne lost its sparkle. The magic evaporated. And I was still standing there, stunned by my own courage. That's when Mom approached me. She didn't shout. She didn't slap me like Amber did. But her words cut deeper. "You couldn't wait just one more day," she said quietly, her eyes glassy. "You couldn't have come to us instead of turning her wedding into a circus?" I stared at her. She was going to leave with Brian after the ceremony. You wanted me to smile and shut up while she cheated her way into a marriage. Mom didn't respond. She just looked tired, worn down, like she couldn't decide who she was more disappointed in. "It was supposed to be beautiful," she whispered. "We worked so hard." There it was again. Asterisk, we worked so hard. Asterisk, as if beauty mattered more than truth. I walked out without saying another word. The cool night air hit me like a wave. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just stood under the string lights that hung across the garden path, listening to the muffled chaos behind me. That's when I saw Tom. He was sitting on the edge of the fountain, bow tie undone, phone in his hand. He looked up as I approached. Did she ever stop seeing him? He asked. No, I said. She lied to me. To you. To everyone. I tried to keep quiet. But I couldn't. He nodded slowly. Thank you for not letting me walk into that blind. I sat beside him. We didn't say much after that. Just sat in silence while the night peeled away the last layers of the fantasy. The next few days were hell. Amber moved back in with our parents temporarily. She barely left her room. I overheard her crying once, then screaming into her phone the next day. Probably at Brian. He had ghosted her, apparently. Shocker. The wedding photographer canceled their post-shoot. Vendors started calling, asking if the second payment would still be processed. Boxes of unused favors and flower arrangements started piling up in the garage. Mom was cold. Dad didn't know what to say. He walked around the house like a man who lost something but couldn't figure out what it was. And me, I stayed quiet. Not because I was ashamed, but because I was done explaining myself to people who didn't want to hear it. One afternoon, Amber finally confronted me. I was in the kitchen, pouring coffee. She walked in barefoot, face pale, hair a mess. You happy now? She asked, arms crossed. Everyone hates me. My life is a joke. My name is trending on Reddit. You turned me into a meme. I didn't slap myself in front of 100 people, I replied. Her face twisted. I made one mistake. No, I cut in. You made dozens. And you expected everyone else to protect you from the consequences. She glared at me, but she didn't argue. She just turned around and walked out. And I realized something in that moment. For the first time in her life, Amber had no power over me. A year has passed. 12 full months since the wedding that never was. And still, not a single word from Amber. After the disaster at the reception, the slap, the recording, the silence that swallowed the room, everything unraveled fast. The next day, she packed her bags and moved out of Tom's condo before he even had to ask. She left behind her dress, the photo albums, even the expensive skincare fridge our parents gifted her. She didn't leave a note. She didn't say goodbye. She just disappeared. She lives alone now, in a small apartment downtown above a nail salon. I've never been there, but I've seen photos. Mom shares them sometimes in the family group chat. Pictures of Amber sitting at brunch or smiling with coworkers at her new office job. She looks happy. She always looks happy. But I've seen enough fake smiles to recognize one from across the screen. I heard Brian never spoke to her again. 2 weeks after the wedding, he stopped responding to her calls. She texted him nearly every day, then every week. Then she stopped. I don't think she misses him. Not really. What she misses is the control, the attention, the illusion that everything could be perfectly hers, even when she was building it on lies. And Tom? He moved to Chicago 3 months after the wedding. He accepted a job at a new law firm and cut ties with everyone connected to Amber. I only know because he messaged me before he left. I'm okay. Thank you for being brave when I couldn't be. I haven't heard from him since, but I hope he's doing well. He deserved better, and he finally knows it. Our parents are different now. Not broken, but quieter, heavier. There's a weight in the house that wasn't there before. Like the air between us is filled with things we still haven't said. They never directly blamed me. But I could see it in Mom's face at first, the disappointment. The pain of watching the picture-perfect moment she dreamed about collapse in front of her guests. She tried to fix it. She invited Amber over for dinner every Sunday. She framed one of their old mother-daughter photos and put it back in the hallway. But the thing about pretending is once it breaks, you can't glue it back without seeing the cracks. Dad is quieter. He still reads the paper every morning like clockwork, but he doesn't whistle like he used to. Sometimes I catch him sitting in the garage, staring at the unopened boxes labeled Amber's wedding. He never touches them, just sits, thinking. Once he said quietly, almost like to himself, she was always good at making things look right. We were too proud to see it wasn't real. I didn't say anything back. I didn't need to. As for me, I changed more than anyone else. There was a time when I would have done anything to keep the peace, to be the good sister, the quiet daughter, the one who didn't rock the boat. But silence isn't peace. It's suffocation in disguise. Speaking the truth felt like setting fire to everything around me. But once the flames died down, I realized I could finally breathe. For months after the wedding, I questioned myself constantly. Did I do the right thing? Should I have waited? Should I have protected her? But then I'd remember the look on Tom's face when he heard the recording. Not anger, not hatred, just the deepest, rawest heartbreak I've ever seen. And I knew protecting a lie would have been worse. Amber didn't just betray Tom. She betrayed the version of herself that everyone believed in. And I had to be the one to hold up the mirror, whether she liked it or not. Now, when I look at old pictures of us, two little girls playing in the sprinklers, laughing, holding melting popsicles, I don't feel anger. I feel grief. I grieve the sister I thought I had, the friendship we never got to grow into, the future where we could have been close. But I don't feel regret. If I had stayed quiet, I would have spent my life wondering who I was trying to protect, her reputation or my fear of conflict. Now I know who I am and what I'll never be again. I'm not the quiet one. I'm not the easy one. I'm not the one who keeps secrets so someone else can smile in a lie. Some truths destroy, but others rebuild. And after everything, I've never felt stronger or more free.